kindergarten teachers. My name is Kelly. Today I'm going to talk you through the Then and Now unit plan for kindergarten social studies. This is the second social studies unit of the year and lasts between 9 and 14 days. In this unit, students are going to focus on the concepts of past, present, and future. Students will analyze pictures and create a timeline to practice these concepts. As they move through the unit, students are going to get to think like the historian, social scientist, and students are going to spend some time comparing and contrasting life in the past to what it is today. There is a unit slideshow that you can use as you move through this unit. Here we have our unit compelling question, which is how have children's lives changed throughout time? We can focus on 4 particular elements: people, toys, school, and events, to help focus in on the question. We also have 3 supporting questions. What is the past, present, and future? How have ways of living changed for children over time? And how do you contribute to your family, and how does that compare to children in the past? In this unit, there are 2 chapters. Chapter 1 focuses on one supporting question, and Chapter 2 focuses on the others. There's 1 lesson in Chapter 1, and it takes 1 or 2 days. In Chapter 2, we have a few lessons plus the summative, and it can take between 8 and 12 days. Chapter 1 is entitled Past, Present, and Future. So we're focusing on supporting question 1. What is the past? What is the present? What is the future? We begin by presenting this picture to the students and ask them to complete what's called a WDISC. It stands for What Do I See? And you can find a link to a video in the description box below for more explanation about how to complete a WDISC. Basically, students are going to point out what they see in the picture. So they might point out that they see 3 children. They might point out that they're playing with boats, that they're on some sort of concrete, that there's water, grass. They might point out their clothing or hairstyles. They might point out that this is black and white. After students have had time to discuss what they see in the picture, ask them to guess when this picture was taken. This can lead into a conversation about the past, finding its definition, and helping students to understand what it means. There are a few slides with some practice items on play from the past, travel, school, and then you can move into a discussion on the present. You can define it, and then there's some items to look through. And then you can start comparing the pictures from the past to the pictures in the present. Then you can repeat the process with the future, and you can also go through and create a timeline in your classroom, maybe on the wall, the board, on the ground, or maybe you have students create one. And when you create the timeline, you can have students add pictures to the timeline and put them in the order of past, present, sometime in the middle, and future off to the right. The timeline activity works as a formative assessment for this lesson. Chapter 2 is called The Past versus the Present. So this is when students are thinking like a historian, using sources, focusing on the compelling question, and comparing and contrasting 2 different time periods. So lesson 2 begins with the introduction of compelling question. And this is something that students learned in their first social studies unit, but you might want to review what it means. Then we can learn about social scientist historian, which is Odin the owl in this case. Talk about what a historian does, what types of questions they might ask. Students can practice being a historian with this picture, but more than that, you want to talk about the idea that it is a source, that historians use sources to gain information. And in order to really understand this source, we need to know more about it. We need to know the who, what, where, why, maybe even the how of this particular source. So that means we want to know who created it, when it was created, where it was created, why it was created. And then the how would be with the camera, of course. You can continue practicing sourcing skills with the different pictures on slides 21 to 22 and 23. Lesson 3 is going to take a few days because we're looking at different aspects of life in the past and comparing them to the same aspects of life today. So we work through toys, play, and entertainment, clothing, food, homes, transportation, chores and jobs, school, and communication and technology. There are some resources available on the slides, and then there's an activity idea of what can be done as you review that topic. Students are going to need to make comparisons between the past and the present, so you might want to do this at the same time, looking at the clothing of the past, comparing it to the clothing of today. That way you don't go through all the topics in the past and then have to repeat them all again for the present. The summative assessment is directly tied to this lesson. Students are going to answer the compelling question and use an example from at least 2 of the categories found in this lesson. I hope this video is a helpful resource as you prepare to teach the Then and Now unit. Please remember to reach out to your PLC leader, instructional coach, or curriculum facilitator if you have any questions or are in need of any support.